And for Oklahoma, the hits just keep on coming as Jordan Parker announces he has entered the transfer portal. We got to talk about it after the bumper.
Don't be cornering me. Hold up. Time. You got to help me with that corner shit.
What's up, kinfolk? It's RJ Young. I'm not on Stat Milk. Consider hitting the like and subscribe button because I upload a video every single day. It's always college football related, sports related. We have a good time. And today, we need to talk about redshirt junior Jordan Parker, who has announced he has entered the NCAA transfer portal. That makes 4 in 3 days. Dating back to 2019, starting with Derek Green all the way through, we're talking about 17 dudes over the course of the calendar year that have entered the transfer portal for Oklahoma. Now, this one is especially hurting because Jordan Parker is defensive back, and defensive back play at Oklahoma hadn't been great, but also Jordan Parker was a big part of why the defensive back play wasn't great. So we're also talking about a guy that had to redshirt 2018 because, well, blew out his knee after having a really great year the year before, 2017, 36 tackles, played in 10 games. Wanted him to be great at corner or safety. They were trying to play him at safety. It wasn't working out. Moving back to corner, still wasn't working out. You could see the guys that Roy Manning and Alex Grinch were willing to play. And they were Trey Brown. They were They were Jaden Davis. I almost said Jordan Parker. Jaden Davis. They were Pat Fields. And they were Delaren Turner-Yell, along with Parnell Motley. After that, you really had a problem finding dudes in the defensive backfield that Grinch wanted to play. Now, I think Jeremiah Cradell is going to help with this. I think that Jamal Morris is going to help with this. But you're also going to need Bryson Washington to really be able to play this year. And you're going to need, yes, Justin Harrington can't get to Oklahoma fast enough. He was supposed to be an early enrollee, but had some hangups, and he's going to join up this summer. But right now, it's just a bad look. It's the optics of it, right? It's not that these guys are entering the portal. And it's not that you don't think that you're losing a really fantastic player. It's that you're having all these guys decide to do this at the same time, which is not a good look for Oklahoma. Levi Draper, Ryan Jones, Mark Jackson, and now Jordan Parker speak to something bigger than perhaps just competitive advantage or just wanting to compete or those things. It speaks to, one, who's saying what to whom about what. And 2, what is Alex Grinch going to do with this? What is Brian Odom going to do with this? You really better hit on the guys that you're bringing in. Otherwise, you risk really going backward with this group of kids. Like, one of the things that I love most about what Alex Grinch was putting together was he goes in the year 2 with a bunch of dudes that 100% know what his scheme is and 100% understand how to play in his scheme and can teach it to the other players, as opposed to everybody being green with it and everybody having to start from scratch and nobody knowing exactly how this is supposed to move and shake for them outside of film sessions and in individuals and in one-on-one and team. But playing in it for an entire season was going to be the thing that helped push it over the edge. And you saw what Alex Grinch was able to do with the personnel at his disposal. You know, turn it into a top 25 defense heading into the game against the Peach Bowl. And then, yes, you get pantsed by what I think is the greatest college football team of all time in the LSU Tigers. But now, you lost a dude that we all expected to be a Mike linebacker and starter in Levi Draper. You lost one of the better athletes on the defense in Ryan Jones. You lost one of the better cornerback safety types in Jordan Parker. And yes, you lost one of the better edge rushers, pass rushers in Mark Jackson. To which the natural comp to that is somebody's being pushed out or somebody's just tired of not playing. Both can be true, right? One of the things that we don't talk enough about in recruiting is how many guys want to be at a place but don't get an opportunity to be at that place. Like Major Burns was committed to play at LSU. He's a signee at Georgia now. We know that Darian Green-Warren and Jalen Huff both were committed to Oklahoma, both kind of left and ended up elsewhere. When we know that DGW grew up an Oklahoma fan, right? Ends up in Michigan. All of these things are important to note, and all of these things are going to have a butterfly effect. There are recruits that are watching this. There are other coaches that are watching this, and everybody's going into the transfer portal. But what does it say about your talent if they stay in there or they don't, right? Ty Yarman went in December, came out in January at SMU. Troy James goes in last Saturday, comes out at Prairie View A&M. You know, so for some of these guys, there is a market. For others, not so much. It's going to be interesting to see where Michael Jones ends up. And I would not be surprised if Levi Draper ends up at Tulsa, right? I think that there's lots of talent on this roster, but being able to fill it quickly is what's going to be really fascinating to watch, because signing day is coming up in 2 weeks from now. And then you'll have to go into the portal to get guys as grad transfers if that's what you want to do. But how many of those guys are absolutely out there? Because grad transfers are a commodity. And that's the other thing about guys like Levi Draper and guys like Jordan Parker. They're going to graduate. They're going to be eligible in May to go and play. Is that going to be able to help? I mean, Levi Draper's going to have 2 years eligibility left here. You know, like, what are you expecting? What were you expecting to happen here? Were you expecting Shane Witter to come in and take a spot that was Levi Draper's or Ryan Jones? Maybe. Same thing could be said about Brendan Walker. You really have to hit these, is what I'm saying. You have to nail these next recruits. Because if you don't, you could end up regressing in a year where you're supposed to be moving forward and setting up for not just a run in 2020, but an absolute run in 2021 at a national championship. And what we know about Oklahoma is it's hard as hell to win 12 games, but it's even harder to win 14, 15, man. Like, the difference between 8-4 and 10-2, that's easy. Going from 10-2 to 11-1 is harder. Going from 12-2 to 14-0 is almost impossible if your name is not Alabama, Clemson, and yes, Ohio State to a degree, but LSU this 1 year. But even this one magic year seems like it's about to go out the door for LSU, because there's been a mass exodus with both the staff and the draft eligible players, which is the natural course of things after you win a national championship, and I think everybody would say that it's worth it. But is Alex Grinch really in a position where this can go down and this is okay? We're going to find out how good Brian Odom is on the trail, even more so now. Same thing with Roy Manning. Lincoln Riley is, as I said, going into the season, really going to have to earn every bit of his check this year, with Jay Boulware choosing to leave and go to Texas. All of these things have happened in the last few days, and all these things are stuff we're going to keep in the back of our heads as we move forward. But how Lincoln Riley comes out of this, who he decides to hire to fill that 10th assistant coaching on staff, and how they choose to shore up their 85 scholarships. Now they're down to 81. It's going to be fascinating to watch. All right, that's it for me. Deuces.